Dear students, with this video we are starting the first lecture of the course Digital Industry Services, Marketing, Sales and Business Models. And the topic of the first lecture is the B2B and how sales and marketing are different in B2B. Before we move to actually the topic, let me remind you, refresh a little bit how the course is actually structured. So we will go with you during the semester through the three main topics: marketing, sales, and business models, with the final when we will prepare a business model for your own project, right? And all these three main topics we will look under the perspective of B2B, yeah, and also on the perspective of the services. So all the classical marketing courses, or a lot of classical marketing courses, are focused mainly on a B2C interaction. So when we consider a consumer with their some kind of consumer good, or let's say the Coca-Cola or the Gillette shaver or a razor, whatsoever, right? So the idea of this course is to show you a little bit a different perspective on marketing and on the business in general. Yeah, so the B2B perspective, and to make it even more exciting for you, not to look on the products, on the physical goods, but more on the service part. But first things first, we will move on topic by topic. We will slice this big area one by one, and you will get a better understanding why it matters. But you can see I forgot one important thing here on the background. There is this cloud, yeah. So the digital tools and methods. That's also why we call it like a digital industry services. So that the idea of the course that we do not just take the definitions from the science, let's say, or some older practices from the science, how they are known, but we see how the new technologies, how the digital technologies actually impact the topics of marketing, sales, and especially the business models. Yeah, so how the new technologies allow businesses to start the models, launch the products what have never could be imagined before. Okay, so and today is our first lecture, and the learning objective for today is basically to understand what is the B2B market, yeah, and what is the main difference between B2B and B2C, right? So business to business and business to customer. Then we will recap a little bit what is the general definition of marketing. I hope that you have learned about marketing before in any other course in any other university you have studied before, but we will need this definition for this course as well. So let us recap it. And then we will have a look what is the industrial marketing, or so-called B2B marketing, yeah, and why is it different from B2C. Very good. So let us kick in. So B2B marketing, what is that? Yeah, so basically the B2B marketing is the marketing of goods, right? So physical goods or services, intangible goods, let's say intangible products, from one business to another one. Yeah, so the most important thing here is to understand is that the transaction in a B2B interaction or in a B2B marketing is usually happening between two companies. So we as a person are barely involved there, yeah. So that's usually companies who are making this buying decision or selling decision, and these industrial products or industrial goods, yeah. So that's the ones what industry is using to produce actually the product or more products from raw materials, right? So usually the industry would buy a machine, so that would be this industrial good. Then they would buy some raw material, right? And then applying machine to a raw material, maybe after multiple iterations, after multiple operations on the manufacturing line, right? So there will be a product manufactured at the end, and then this product again that can be sold on a B2B market or can be sold on a B2C market to us. What is also important to mention here that B2B market and industrial market is not exactly the same terms, right? So B2B marketing is a wider term than industrial marketing. So usually industrial marketing is only something what is related to manufacturing, to production, while the B2B marketing that would cover, it's a wider definition. So it would cover all the financial operations between the companies when the company is taking a loan at the bank, for example, or it would cover also different, let's say, the area of education, the area of healthcare. So all the areas where we also have businesses, also they have companies, but they're not manufacturing ones, not industrial ones. But often also just for simplification, these terms are used as equal, especially when we are, let's say, acting in the industrial area. Then you will hear the B2B marketing, as people think that it's related only to industrial area. But keep in mind, it's a broader definition. Good. So what is then the difference between B2C and B2B? Why it's important and why there is a need to talk about that in general? Good. So let us have a look on the left side of this page. Basically, usually, so there is a, let's start with the language, right? So on a B2B side of the market, we will hear a lot of jargon, so-called jargon, so special language when the people define, let's say, the areas where the products are applied or some features of the product using special terms. In a B2C, the language would be very much a common language, what we use in everyday life, because in a B2C, the seller, let's say, needs to make a product clear to anyone on the market, yeah, so to any person on the street. In a B2B, the language is there, let's say, a sign of expertise, right? So by using special jargon, the salesman, or let's say advertisement or whatsoever message, let's say the leaflet, whatsoever web page, by using the special jargon, we kind of transmit the message to a customer that we know his industry, right? We know the language what he's talking about, let's say in a sugar manufacturing, yeah. So there are definitely some special terms how the sugar is manufactured. So when we would sell a machine to a sugar manufacturing company, right, so we'll try to use these terms in order to make ourselves more attractive to them. As I said, in B2C, other way around. We need to use as general terms as possible in order to make our message clear to a wider audience. Let's have a look at the next one, the decision-making process. Yeah, so the decision-making process is basically clear. On the B2C side, we are talking about decisions driven by emotions, right? So our marketing would be more on the spot, right? So maybe sometimes even do not let the consumer think a lot, right? So trying to attract him right away, trying to make something let's say attractive to buy right away, right? Spend money now. In a B2B, it's rarely the case. Usually in a B2B, there are multiple persons involved in the decision making, right? So as also the deals, let's say the purchases are much bigger than in B2C, right? It could be millions of dollars or of euros. So then you also want to analyze this purchase from as many angles as possible, right? So then you involve the experts from all the different fields. Let's say if we are talking again this our sugar factory, then and we are buying a new machine, so we need someone who is responsible for the technology, right? So someone needs to make sure that if we get this machine, it will fit into our factory. So we need someone responsible for the safety, right? So on the plan, so that he will analyze this machine in terms of, okay, yeah, is it safe or not for our employees? We need to involve someone responsible for the maintenance of the factory, right? So that he can check, okay, how much are the spare parts? Do I have already something on stock? How much would be the maintenance cost of this machine? We need again to involve someone from finance, right? So we need to see if we have a budget. If we can discuss something more, let's say on the leasing options, let's say with this machine, right? So with the seller, not to pay all the money up front, and so on. And clear, when many people are involved, the decision-making process takes time. Yeah, so it will be much longer than me as a person. I think what I take now, Coca-Cola or Pepsi, right? Often let's say the motivation to buy something on a B2B market, yeah, is driven by, or let's say on industrial market, is driven by production, right? So it's less an emotion or some wish of a person, but it's more a need of a production, and always often also it's called like a need. So we have a demand, yeah. So there is a demand in material, demand in machine. So production wants to be more efficient. And then this demand appears that they go to the seller, go to a company and try to find something that may help them to be more efficient. On a B2C level, often we have purchases that are just related to entertainment, right? So we, as a person, we just need something different. We go for whatsoever entertainment and then pay money for it. And is there really a demand? Yeah, so maybe just to to change the scene and to do something different, but probably there is no demand from our body to get something intangible. Let's have a look what else is here. Yeah, so very important, as I said, from the messaging on the B2B market, over the special language, over the jargon, maybe even over the way how the salesperson looks like. We want to transmit a message of reliability, right? So as me, as again this sugar factory, when I'm buying a machine, I want to be sure that the company from whom I'm buying it is a reliable company, that it will not disappear next 5 years, right? The persons whom I'm talking to are knowledgeable about my industry. They give me right advice. They could help me also to settle the machine. On the B2C, again, the price would play a very important role in the message, right? So emotions. So we try to trigger some emotions in the person in order for him to push him for this purchase. So it's completely a different set, let's say, of messaging what we can consider. And on the right side, interestingly, you can also see here the marketing drivers, right, for both of these markets. And yeah, so we went through a couple of them, but when we are talking here about the multi-step buying cycle, for example, right, so on a B2C, it's rarely the case. On a B2B, that's usually the situation. Rely on merchandise and the point of purchase. In a B2C fully, right? So we never buy something from the manufacturer. I never go to, let's say, okay, to Procter & Gamble and would buy a washing powder, right? So I would always go to a merchandiser, to some retail shop who is distributing the products of Procter & Gamble. So that's why Procter & Gamble fully relies on the merchandiser. In the B2B, it would be different, yeah? So we would have majority of the operations, it's a direct transaction. So the majority of transaction is a direct transaction between the seller and the buyer. Interesting about the marketing department and sales team. So there would be much bigger department, marketing department in B2C, and much smaller department in B2B, and vice versa with the sales. So much smaller sales department in B2C and much bigger sales department in B2B. Again, because in a B2B sales, the personal interaction matters, right? So we want to have a sales force what can reach directly to the customer and speak with the decision maker or decision maker on the customer side. In a B2C, we are more talking about the groups of customers, so markets, right? So we have individuals, what form, let's say, the society of a city, of a country, of a continent, and then we are analyzing these societies. That's why we need much more central marketing department who will do all this analytics. We do not need to talk to each of these individuals directly. So for sure we'll have a sales department working with the distribution channels, but there will be barely anyone working directly with the consumers. So also looking at the social tools, yeah, so you see Facebook, Twitter, YouTube is much more on the right side on the B2C interactions, and such tools as a LinkedIn or some professional blogs. Yeah, so they would be more appreciated on the left side on the B2B interactions. Looking here on their, let's say a bit, when you look at the landscape of the different companies who are interacting with each other yeah, there are tons of them, right? A lot of different companies and legal entities. So, and again, to illustrate here a little bit this message that the B2B market is a wider definition than industrial market. Yeah, so you can see here that for industrial marketing, we would count, let's say, the construction industry, the transportation industry, communication infrastructure, railway, right, or aircrafts, ships, whatsoever. So we'll call everything industrial marketing. When the B2B marketing is everything what's going beyond, but still is the interaction between companies. So, right, so financial topics, education topics, healthcare, whatsoever. So in our course, we will focus more on the industrial marketing, right? So everything what is more related to production, to industry, to infrastructure. In order to slice a little bit this elephant, in order to give you a bit of feeling also what are the companies, what are the players on this B2B market, let me introduce here a bit of the structure, right? So how it can be, how the market can be structured. So on the one side, we have a dimension of our size, right? So we have a big companies, like more like a market leaders, who has a name on the market, who are known by customers, and often customers want to come and buy something from them, right? So that would be the messaging. On another side of the scale, we would have a small and medium enterprises, could be startups, who have a small market share, who are much more aggressive in their sales, and they would push the customers more with the message, buy from us. Yeah, so we do something, buy it from us. And another dimension would be the product itself or the service itself. So there could be a complex product, so the machine, some CNC machine doing some fine grade drilling, or whatsoever, this sugar making machine, coming back to the sugar factory example. So it can be even a customized product, right? So when the machine builder makes something specifically for our customer. So in that case, usually these machine builders, so they would say that we are choosing whom to sell. Yeah, so our product especially is not for everyone. We are working on the niche market, right? And we are picking the deals, picking the opportunities what are most profitable for us. Yeah, so either we can make a better margin on that, or we can foresee a better service business afterwards, but we are not selling to everyone. And there is another side of that scale is the, let's say, commodity product. So that's a common product. What's hard to differentiate from one to another, right? And then so you have to bring into the play, into the game, another aspects, right? So you as a supplier, you start talking about the reliability, you start talking about the easiness to buy, you're trying to introduce different tools to integrate your IT system with the customer IT system that he can buy just by one click. So that's basically how the commodity sellers try to differentiate from each other. And here will be some examples following this structure. So when we look on the left side, let's say big companies and the complex products, it would be classically the big four. Consulting, usually consulting is done partially in industrial area and partially in more like financial, educational, infrastructure, whatsoever area, right? But consulting is usually a product of B2B market. Could be some software developers like Autodesk, Oracle, you name it, whatsoever. Industrial equipment vendors, speaking Siemens, Schindler, or whatsoever, ABB, Schneider Electric, right, Flender. We have thousands of companies in different, specializing on different products, clearly overlapping in some areas, but also going deep in the specification and other areas. So research providers, audit providers, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the Nielsen, who is doing researches, GFK, right, sitting in Nuremberg, who is doing the market researches for big B2B customers and so on. So that's the companies who have a complex product, they have a big name on the market, and so they have this possibility actually to choose whom they want to sell. Then we have small and medium enterprises also with the complex products, so more like a consulting companies of a second, a third, fourth tier, right, smaller ones, or research and audit agencies. They would call themselves then boutiques or agencies, whatever, web studios, right, so some integration partners for the software. Some vendors for the auxiliary equipment or for some base equipment manufacture of the electric motors, let's say, or wall valves or whatsoever. So smaller components of the bigger machines. So, and then again, maybe the small companies would be a supplier of a big company when the big company is delivering a bigger machine and so on. So for the lower level here, with the commodity, with the common products, you can also think of big companies supplying a common commodity products, thinking about Total with the oil and gas, or JP Morgan with like a bank, right? So providing the financial services. And there is always usually a network, kind of a network of small and medium enterprises around this one commodity company. It's like a network of, we would call them distributors, so distribution channels, who are maybe specializing on special markets or on special products or on markets and products, right? So then when the volumes for the big company is small enough to sell for the particular customer, right? So then they would go over the distribution channel, and then they would offer the product, their commodity product, over the distributor, basically. Good. So we got a little bit the refresh, let's say, of what is B2B, what is B2C, why they are so different. Right, so what are the companies operating on the B2B market? And now let us jump to another topic, to the marketing topic. So marketing itself, what is the marketing? And I have found here a web page with more than 70 definitions, different definitions on what is marketing. And probably if I would ask in the class, everyone would have a bit a different definition. So I like the one, so what is given by Philip Kotler, so the gentleman on the picture here who is known as the founder, let's say, as the guru of the marketing as science, who is saying that the marketing is the science and art of exploring, creating, and delivering value to satisfy the needs of a target market at a profit. Yeah, and it's important here to understand that the marketing is not something, is not just a communication when we have a product, how we sell this product. Yeah, so marketing itself, it's actually the philosophy. That's a philosophy of running a business, and it starts much before, much earlier than the product has been created, right? So the marketing starts with the research. What is this need of the market, right? So what is the need of the customer? What is the problem, what we can solve actually for this customer, that he would be able to pay money, time, data, whatsoever, right, in return to this product. And that's a marketing task. Afterwards, this definition, when it's done, it's handed over, let's say, to development, and developers are making this product, and then marketing jumps in again to make sure that we are selling this product, what we defined on the market definition, that we are selling it in the right way. So we have it present in the right place, we have the right price, we know how to communicate about this product to a customer, right? And the product is right. So we'll come back to the definition, 4P definition of the marketing, but that's that basically what marketing is. Yeah, so please do not consider marketing as just the advertisement, as just let's say this communication activity. Yeah, so marketing is a philosophy of running business. So that's the way when we sell to the customer something what really is needed for a customer, right? And not like we are doing something, we are manufacturing something, and then trying to sell the things what probably no one needs. Okay. So the famous 4P or so-called marketing mix, a definition of marketing, a bit of with the B2B flavor here. So as I explained, we are starting with the product. Right? So the first task of the marketing is to define the product, what customer needs, right? So what will help customer to solve his problem. And then let's say here in the B2B example, that could be a machine, drilling machine, sugar making machine, could be a software, that could be any, basically anything, right? So moving more to a service, it could be special training, what the employees of the customer are missing, whatsoever. Then we have a price, right? So the price is the amount what customer will pay us, right, in return for this service or product. And then in the B2B world, we have the different terms. We have an advanced payment, prepayment, we have a post-payment model, we have the complicated leasing models when the machine is actually not owned by the customer but owned by the bank, and then bank can anytime take this machine back if the installments are not maintained on time and properly. So that's everything about the money. So price. A place is usually the channel, right? So the communication channel. So how, not the communication, let's say the sales point, where, how do we sell? Is it a partner network, as we said, so distributor network, whom we enable to sell our products? Are we selling directly? Are we selling online? Do we have maybe an e-procurement platform where a customer can just log in and pick the parts what he need? Or maybe we can build a kind of ERP to ERP connectors that the customer just places an order in his own ERP system and that it triggers the right order with the right price in our ERP system. So there are multiple ways how the place of sale can be defined. And the promotion is basically tools how we make the market aware, how we make the customer aware about our product and about our offering. And on a B2B market, it would be mainly technical. So this, you remember, this professional expert webinars, exhibitions, could be direct meetings with the customer when a salesman is just arranging a meeting and coming to explain about the new product or to answer the questions. Often the customers are also pooling the knowledge from the manufacturers to just to learn what is available new on the market and how they can purchase it. The 4P model is complete for the physical goods, for the physical products, but as the goal of our course is to get to know the service business, right? So the 4P model was extended to actually 7P, right? So there is a so-called 7P service model. It inherits all the 4Ps from the product model, right? So product, price, place, promotion are still there, right, of the classical marketing mix. And another 3Ps would be people, process, and physical evidence. So the people would be, as services usually intangible, right? So that would be a person who is delivering the service. The process would be the process, how the service is delivered, right? Is it in a digital way? Are you getting invoice per post later on, printed out on paper or whatever? And the physical evidence, so that would be the, let's say, the ambience where the service is done. When we're thinking about the restaurant, for example, so that would be the furniture, the music, the lights, right? So everything around the place where the service is done. For some services in industrial, let's say, context, it's maybe a bit hard to understand this physical evidence, but that could be, for example, the tools, what the person is using to repair your machine, yeah, or the clothes, how the person looks like. Is it professional? Does he has all the safety measures, let's say, when doing the repair? So that, and so on. That's the main ideas. Okay, we are coming actually already to an end of the first lecture. You can see here some, let's say, Bibles of marketing, some additional materials what you can go through to learn a bit more about the industrial marketing, about the in general industrial and B2B markets, right? And what could be the strategies and models what the marketing specialists could work with on these markets. Thanks a lot for your attention, and looking forward to welcome you on a next lecture.